I guess I'll wait until Fifi comes finds me.
Hello.
Hi, Fifi. How are you doing?
Have you been resting well?
Yes, I've been doing okay. How are you doing?
As well as one can be, I suppose. I must say I haven't really been sleeping much aside from occasional blinks or so.
Yeah, I understand.
I have been distracting myself. I do want to figure out what happened. You want to hear my findings so far? I don't know where a good place to sit would be inside, but we could probably find one.
You can sit inside in here if you want.
I took the time to look through the houses and offices, and some of this might be repeat information from when we last spoke, but multiple letters have confirmed that the attack would have happened post-war. I can't really pinpoint exactly how far post-war, but enough where not everyone has yet to return, but most have, so there's also could just be that those who hadn't returned settled down elsewhere and just never sent letters, or their deaths just were never reported.
I see.
From searching through Zara Raven's office, the most pointed evidence, I suppose, and I can't even say it with certainty, is there is another pack in the desert called the Ein Pack. For the most part, I remember us not being on terrible terms with them, but there is a letter in the office that seemed to be written with the... If you read it, it's to, like, make you think they have well wishes, but if you read between the lines, it feels more hostile. Just a lot of mentioning the packlands and how much room we have, and also mentioning how we don't need all that room. And there was mention of how the Ein Pack had a lot of people return from the war and were running out of space. So
I see.
that made me kind of think that it could be them, but that brings the question is, if they did it for space, why were they not occupying it when we got here? But that is the most direct lead I have, to be honest. The other option is goblins after the war ended, maybe on their retreat, but this is also... the front lines were past this, so
But
it would have been an interesting path of choice.
I don't believe goblins, though, because we wiped out most of them in the war. We made sure to, at the very least. There shouldn't be a bunch of numbers left to cause this much destruction.
There most certainly can be. From frontline experience and how many outposts continuously got overran and everyone in them slaughtered, I never thought the war would end in my lifetime. And when it was called that the wars ended, to be frank, I didn't believe them. It wasn't until that we noticed there weren't any goblins around, but I can say for certain at my outpost, we did not slay them. They were just gone.
They retreated. I see.
Whenever they grouped up and attacked an outpost, it was very few would really make it out alive. It wasn't very often that we could hold an outpost unless we had reinforcements or help from Shrieklings stepping in. At least Wolfkin ran ones. We didn't exactly hold the line very well, but I already knew that we were just kind of bodies to prolong it from reaching further in.
I see. Well,
I don't know if I want to. I know I'm not necessarily very fond of Shrieklings. They terrify me, and I don't know how much my pack felt the same way, but I can't imagine it varied too much. So on one hand, I don't want to invite Shrieklings here, specifically Captain Arlo, to investigate, because I feel like he would do a better job investigating this type of thing than me. I have no experience in this area. But that would also be inviting a Shriekling into the Packlands. Do you think I should do outside help?
I don't know, Fifi. That's up to you. This is...
It's also Captain Rexar's, because I'm also Netherian, but this is also out of their kingdom's domain, technically. While I want help investigating, I also don't want it to become a public viewing ground of sorts.
Yeah, I understand. Well, in the meantime, if you don't want others to know, I can always come and help you look for clues anytime you need.
I think I've found everything that I'm going to find within the village, at least. I just don't know if other people might have a better eye for things. And I will say, Banshees, Captain Rexar's has jumped through the floor of the Master Coin Office multiple times, so they have a bit of an advantage in finding things that I may overlook. I do want to eventually take some time to prod around neighboring villages and maybe even the Ein Pack itself, but I don't know. I don't necessarily want to plan for doing that today. There's a lot I want to do. I also want to find the pack member that I suspect managed to escape because the horse is gone. Even if it's a dead end and it wasn't a pack member.
Well, one thing at a time. What's the first thing that you really wish to do today?
To decide whether or not I should take up the title of Zara.
The leader of your pack?
I'm not sure if there's a point when there's no pack left, but I also don't want our history and culture and traditions to end from someone raiding the village. And I have the proper eye color, but I don't know if it's selfish to take on the position because it was never meant to be mine. It was going to be Raven's.
I think that would be a honorable decision of you, and a very brave one at that. And I don't remember much of my childhood here, nor have we been reacquainted for terribly long again, but I can think of no other wolfkin worthy than you.
I just don't want to disappoint the dead, or the pack founders, or the ancestors of it. But I do want to avenge them and figure out what happened and ensure that our traditions can live on in some type of way, even if I can't rebuild the pack itself. I want its legacy to continue in the form of books at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know exactly how the Zara ceremonies are conducted. Unfortunately, I was never in the Packlands when one was performed. Well, the only one performed during my lifetime was Raven's, and I'm not even sure if he got a proper one with how few people remained at the Pack. I did see my mother's ceremonial dress in her dresser. That's also where I took her armor from. Guess the start would be to put on the ceremonial garbs, I suppose, and go from there.
Is there any documentation anywhere in your Packlands on these ceremonies?
Most of our traditions were more so passed down orally between shamans and their apprentices. And Evelyn would have become shaman around 10 years ago, maybe. Well, maybe not shaman, but shaman apprentice around 10 years ago.
I see.
And she would have had the information necessary, but in her house there's no record of it, and in the library there wasn't any record. I believe the first Zara's tomb, they have something, but traditions dictate that only the shamans and the reigning Zara can enter there, and I'm not sure if I want to break tradition and descend into it early just to potentially get an idea of what the ceremony is supposed to be.
Well, I'll help you with whatever you decide.
I had stopped in the blacksmith within the village, and there is some dune armor trims that represent the desert. Would you care to help and put the trims onto my armor?
Of course. I would be honored.
I can lead the way to it.
Wow, wow. I could